Picture yourself in the 10th row of a symphony hall. Violins sweep from the left, brass echoes from the right, percussion washes from the back. Now imagine all of that rich, three-dimensional space instantly collapsing into a single, dead point right in the middle of your forehead. That flat, single point is mono. If I sit down with an acoustic guitar and place one microphone in front of it, I am capturing a single channel of audio. When you play that recording back through a set of speakers, that single channel gets pushed straight up the middle. It is a literal representation of exactly what that one microphone heard. But if I place two microphones in front of that same guitar, capturing the sound from two slightly different angles, I create two separate audio channels. When you play those channels back through a left and a right speaker, you get stereo. This dual-channel delivery exploits how our brains process distance and direction, creating a sense of physical immersion. It maps the recording into a three-dimensional environment that a single speaker cannot replicate. We take that sense of width for granted today, but for decades, all recorded audio in human history existed entirely in mono. When Thomas Edison pioneered early sound recording, his machine used a needle to carve vibrations vertically into a spinning wax cylinder. Every time a sound wave hit the diaphragm, the needle dug up and down, capturing a single channel of audio. A few years later, Emil Berliner improved on this with the flat disc gramophone. Instead of cutting up and down into a cylinder, Berliner's needle wiggled laterally, side to side, along a spiral groove. This lateral cut became the standard, but it presented an engineering wall. To achieve the immersive reality of true stereo on a vinyl record, you would need a way to reproduce two completely separate audio channels at the exact same time. That meant pressing two distinct, independent signals into a single record groove, a trench thinner than a human hair meant to be read by one single needle. At the time, that was widely considered a physical paradox. In 1931, a 31-year-old engineer at EMI named Alan Blumlein started tackling that paradox. Blumlein realized that sound shouldn't be captured as a fixed, localized point, but rather as an expansive, spatial stage. To test his theory, Blumlein set up an experiment in January 1934 at Abbey Road Studio 1. He placed a pair of spaced microphones 45 feet away from Ray Noble's dance band. The following day, his team positioned three separate pianos across the room, left, center, and right. They needed to test exactly how this new dual microphone setup could map specific sound sources within a simulated auditory field. The test worked perfectly. Blumlein proved a three-dimensional soundstage could be captured by microphones. But the colossal hurdle remained. How do you physically etch that complex, dual-channel field into a playable shellac disc? Blumlein's answer was a marvel of applied geometry, a method now known as the 45-45 system. Take a look at the cross-section of this record groove. Instead of a flat-bottom trench that only wiggled side to side, Blumlein designed the walls of the groove to be tilted at precise 45-degree angles. Each wall in that V-shaped groove, it touches both walls simultaneously. As the record spins, the tip vibrates diagonally in two distinct directions at once, allowing a single needle to read the left and right channels independently. By mathematically combining these diagonal movements, the purely lateral, side-to-side motion represents the sum of the left and right channels blended together. Meanwhile, the purely vertical, up and down motion represents the difference between the channels, telling the stereo cartridge exactly which sounds to push to the left speaker and which to push to the right. This geometric arrangement provided the final piece of the puzzle. Because a standard mono record player only responds to side-to-side movement, it would pick up that summed audio perfectly, making the new stereo format backward compatible with millions of existing players. Yet, in a tragic historical twist, Alan Blumlein never lived to see his audio format become a reality for consumers. During World War II, Blumlein shifted his focus to the Allied war effort. In 1942, at just 39 years old, he died in a plane crash while testing highly classified H-2S radar technology. Because his radar work was ultra-secret, the details of his death were kept classified by the British government. His immense contributions to both wartime science and audio engineering were temporarily buried. His sacrifice delayed the commercial rollout of stereo records, leaving his greatest musical invention dormant in the archives for over 2 decades. In 1958, Blumlein's exact 45-45 geometric system finally became the global commercial standard for stereo vinyl records. This technology transformed the mixing console into an artistic tool. Producers used this new spatial control to treat the mix as a canvas, arranging instruments across a wide stereo field to build a more dynamic sonic environment. That 1930s breakthrough is the direct ancestor of today's Dolby Atmos and spatial audio. We are still using the principles Blumlein established to push digital sounds even further, placing them dynamically above, behind, and completely around the listener. The next time you put on a great pair of headphones, take a moment to listen to how a classic track fills the space around you. That immersive width exists because an engineer figured out how to fit the 3-dimensional world into the microscopic angles of a single groove.